And the West, in fact, needs India more when facing the rise of China and the imperiled global order. How to repair this imperiled order? Then India needs, in fact, the West when facing China in South Asia. So, in fact, in this particular case, we have to also develop an understanding for national.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Atif Iqbal और आज हम रिएक्शन करने वाले हैं एक वीडियो की जो कि है बाई जयशंकर रैसेना जो करके एक अभी समिट चल रहा है, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस इंडिया के अंदर चल रहा है। बहुत सारे लोग आए हैं, यूरोपियन यूनियन के अलग अलग जगह के लोग आए हैं और ये कॉन्वर्सेशन चल रही है। तो मैं पूरे एक डिबेट का ज़रूर पार्ट में करके रिएक्शन ज़रूर दूंगा क्योंकि मेरा बहुत ज़्यादा इंटरेस्ट है उसको देखने का। पर ये वीडियो मुझे किसी ने रेकमेंड नहीं करा था, मुझे खुद देखनी थी ये वीडियो, तो मैंने सोचा कि मैं आपके साथ मिलके देखो। स्पेशली जयशंकर वाला जो पार्ट था वो देखना था। एक्सटर्नल मिनिस्टर अफेयर, ही इज़ fabulous the way he's responding. His fierce, fireful statement coming out of him actually shows the power of India. अगर आप चाहते हो कि मैं पूरे इस प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस जो कि 1 घंटे की समथिंग है, अगर मैं उसको 2-3 पार्ट में करके रिएक्शन दूं तो ज़रूर आप मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में जाके बताइएगा। अभी मैं सिर्फ जयशंकर वाला पार्ट कर रहा हूँ। एक जो ये साथ में बैठ के डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, इसका जो 14 मिनट की वीडियो है ये मैं यहाँ डाल रहा हूँ। एक जयशंकर ने स्टार्टिंग स्टेटमेंट दिया है खड़े होके, वो 4-5 मिनट की, वो मैं अपने दूसरे चैनल पर डाल दे रहा हूँ क्योंकि दोनों ही वीडियो एक चैनल पर डालने का कोई लॉजिक बनेगा नहीं। वो 4-5 मिनट की है तो वो मेरे दूसरे चैनल पर जिसका नाम है आतिफ रिएक्ट, आप वहाँ जाके देख सकते हैं उस वीडियो को। इस वीडियो को मैं अपने मेन चैनल पे डाल रहा हूँ। तो चले फिर स्टार्ट करते हैं और देखते हैं कि जयशंकर जी से क्या सवाल किए गए हैं और इन्होंने क्या रिस्पॉन्ड किया है उसका। आई एम प्रिटी श्योर कि इन्होंने बहुत ही फियर्सफुली और बहुत ही अमेजिंग तरीके से रिस्पॉन्ड किया होगा, बट उनके मुँह से सुनने में एक अलग ही मज़ा आता है। चले फिर स्टार्ट करते हैं। 3, 2, 1 गो।
To the issue of how does the world benefit by the growth of India. We need to demonstrate that. I think today when there's a lot of talk about reliable, resilient supply chains, when people speak about transparency and trusted technologies, if India could do more and show the rest of the world that the world benefits by India being bigger, so we need to develop stakes in our future where the rest of the world is concerned. I think some of that is happening. Some of that is happening for strategic reasons, obviously. But we need to make more of it happen, especially for economic reasons.
Minister Atif, would you like to come in on something that the minister said?
I would look. I guess as I was listening to the minister, there's one comment I think really needs to be made, and that is to reflect. The minister rightly reflected on some things India can do better in the future. But I think we should take a moment at 75 to reflect on what a relative success India actually is. Now, if you look at all of the countries that emerged from colonialism in the post-war period, and you focused on their various vulnerabilities, strengths and weaknesses, you would look at India and you would say, look at this country of just enormous cleavages, regional, religious, linguistic, social, cultural, and with enormous social and economic challenges. And here we are 75 years later, and of all the countries that have emerged from that past, there are very few that have demonstrated the unity, the high levels of governance, the advancement of human rights and democracy, the economic advancement, the eradication of hunger. So look, I think that we obviously need to reflect on what India can do better or different, but it is a remarkable success story. And compared to other countries that objectively should have been way ahead of India, India is ahead of just about all of them.
So we are going to open it up to all of you. I would request you to walk to the mic and pose your question. My young fellows, especially the Raisina young fellows, the officer trainees. I would want to see some young voices come into this conversation as well. But till they come to the mic, why don't you go ahead? We'll take a bunch of questions. Okay, do introduce yourself and short questions, no commentaries.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Hai Quen from Tel Aviv University, Israel. My question is to Minister of Foreign Affairs of India. You spoke about self-confidence. We really appreciate. We really are aware of the fact that India is the largest democracy in the world, and it is a rising power. So my question is to you is regarding what are your plans for turning India into a permanent member of the UN Security Council? Thank you.
There are two questions on that end. Please go ahead, the young fellows.
Thanks, Samir. My question is also to...
What's your name? Introduce yourself.
My name is Mohammed. I am from Egypt, and I am with the Raisina Young Fellows. So my question is to His Excellency, the Minister of India, Mr. Jaishankar. You mentioned yesterday the efforts of India to increase food supply and increase the production of wheat. So could you please elaborate on that?
And the next question, please. Yeah, just come. Go ahead. Yeah, but please go ahead. Please. Esther.
Yeah. Thank you, Samir. My name is Esther. I'm from Foreign Policy Community of Indonesia. My question is to Your Excellency Minister Jaishankar. Earlier, you said that in the future, India should be confident and then it should define itself based on what it thinks of itself, not what the world think of itself. Just today, there's an article released in Foreign Affairs by Dr. Shashi Tharoor saying that India should be clear on its stance on Ukraine, and I quote, "An India that equivocated on Ukraine cannot blame others for responding with the same indifference if China decided to teach it a lesson and we do this."
Shashi is sitting right here.
Yes.
So,
Shashi is
I'm
dumb.
wondering, what are your thoughts about this? Because Indonesia is in a way the same stance in India. We don't want to choose sides, but at the same time, we have this big question of neutrality.
शशि क्या कर रहा है यार?
And final question here.
Thank you very much.
What is wrong with Shashi? I love this guy, yaar. I love him.
I'll come to you. Let's take the...
Ali Miftahi, Deputy Chief of Mission.
Jaishankar, I love this guy.
My question is to Dr. Jaishankar. It's quite simple. You are saying that 75 years of independence of India is about what have been achieved so far. My question is, and what you are looking to do for the next 25 years. How do you see the Indo-Pacific region and the world for the next 25 years? This is for Dr. Jaishankar and for all the panelists. Thank you very much.
I'm going to convert the question for all of them because it's only going
Yes.
The gentleman there and no more questions.
सबने जयशंकर को अटैक कर दिया.
Please go ahead.
This is Vijay from Kathmandu. I have a question to External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar.
Oh my God.
When India was independent, it has created a democratic movement in all other Southeastern countries. What you were looking for during the more 25 years as democratic institutions, and what India has looking to bilateral relation and multilateral relations with other Southeastern countries. Thank you.
सारे क्वेश्चन
Okay,
इनसे
I'll take you. Go ahead. Patrick.
Thank you very much. Patrick Kudiel, I'm from
again?
the Polish Institute of International Affairs in Warsaw, Poland. I have a question to His Excellency Minister Jaishankar. In your book, The India Way, you wrote that India must be more ready and willing to take a risk in international affairs, and that India will be more decider, shaper, rather than abstainer. But yet, for the last
अरे वाह,
India abstained
खुद का पेन.
at least 11 times at the different forums at the UN on different resolutions concerning Russian aggression against Ukraine. So my question is, wasn't that a good moment actually to take a risk and to have a more principled position, not to abstain, but to
Question
say,
is, What is the question?
I got the question.
You got a question? Okay.
Thank you very
So
much.
risk taking and the abstention. I think that's the question. And your book, by the way, is featured in most of the questions. The India way. So I'll start with you, and then I'll go down.
Yes, I think people shouldn't just pick on me. Let's sort of broaden it out. But look, let me give very quick replies because I know the clock is ticking. On the Security Council, we have our plan. The problem is we need to have other people to have a plan which is similar to our plan.
Correct.
On the wheat, I answered it yesterday, which was, we have a significant wheat production. We would obviously like to go into the global markets and try to compensate for the shortfalls as much as we can. In fact, in respect of Egypt, because that's where the question came from, it's one of the countries with whom we are talking. There were two Ukraine issues, one relating to Shashi's article, and in fairness, I haven't read it, but she was going through it at a high speed, which was too fast for me.
Shashi also wrote it at high speed.
Yes, I know. And I'm not sure I would understand it very much better after reading it either. Here's the point, and it goes to the last question. We spent a lot of time yesterday on Ukraine, and I tried to explain what our views are, but also explain that in our minds, the best way forward is to focus on stopping the fighting, getting the talking, and finding ways of moving forward. And we think our choices, our positions are best placed to advance that. The question which I had about, where are you going to go 25 years from now? I think more or less I answered that we think more international, we think stronger capability, we think more relevance to the world, and obviously to the Indo-Pacific as well. And the question which the person from Nepal asked on South Asia, that in a sense, 75 years, there's more democracy in South Asia than there was 75 years ago. Where will we be 25 years from now? I would say probably the shortest, most truthful answer to that would be we would like to see more prosperity in South Asia. That if India has been, in a sense, an example of democracy or a promoter of democracy in South Asia, we would now like to be part of a larger lifting tide so that, the rest of South Asia grows along with us.
Final words from the rest of the panelists. You want to come in on anything that you heard? You have some thoughts on his responses or what you heard as questions? Jeff, would you like to come in?
I'm going to be
Short
honest,
answers?
I don't think I understood a single question that was asked from the audience. It was very garbled. But no, this has been a great opportunity to reflect back on India at 75. Samir, I want to give you and the ORF team credit for putting together another fantastic international conference in a challenging environment, frankly. It's been a great honor to share the panel with these esteemed guests. I've learned a great deal, and I look forward to returning again.
Minister Kravino?
Well, I think that one of the things that is comforting from a European perspective is that to hear here in India that the next few decades are not necessarily reduced to a story of bipolarity between the US and China. There's a lot more happening out there, and India has a very major role to play, which we welcome. We welcome greatly, and we believe that linkages between Europe and India can be a strong part of that. So I'm very pleased coming back to Delhi.
Samir, you diplomatically pointed out earlier that we in the West have a tendency to tell other people what they should do. I think in this case, I'll say that the Indian foreign minister's answers are probably the best answers on Indian foreign policy. So I'll let them stand.
And Belina, final words to you.
Both Europe and India do not want to see an emergence of a second Cold War. They do not want to see a bifurcation of the global system. And we have a story to tell together. And that means, of course, a story that is different, that does not necessarily mean alliances in this Cold War understanding. Which is why, if there is one development, geopolitical development that I'm really optimistic about, it is the relationship between Europe and India. Capabilities. We can deliver on that as well. So there is definitely a shared interest. And I also want to say once again, because I think that there is a lack of understanding about the great potential of India in the West, not only in Europe, but also to some extent in the United States. I think that, and I will say something very provoking at the end, the West, in fact, needs India more when facing the rise of China and the imperiled global order, how to repair this imperiled order. Then India needs, in fact, the West when facing China in South Asia. So in fact, in this particular case, we have to also develop an understanding for national interests, for geopolitical choices, and we have to find these avenues for cooperation instead of actually aggravating each other because of some other choices that we do not share.
Wow.
Mr. Minister, final words.
West need India more than actually India need West as much.
But really out of a genuine belief, I think India, EU, I mean, no disrespect to anybody else, including Canada, but I really think India, EU, because this has been very much a session with EU at the focus, beginning with the keynote. The India-EU partnership needs more attention, needs more work, needs more commitment, and needs to get a higher profile.
Great. So please join me in applauding this wonderful discussion and the wonderful panelists. And remain seated. We will have India's Environment Minister joining us to speak about India's
Hats off.
positions. And again, thank you very much, sirs, for coming to Delhi and for joining us at the Raisina time. Thank you.
Oh man, what an amazing discussion it was. I mean, I will say what an amazing discussion it was. I just don't know what else to say. I have no idea. I am just falling in love with this gentleman named Jaishankar. Jaishankar is being fireful, very fierce, very humble, very calculative, and exactly know what he has to say. And that is something very inspiring about him. जयशंकर जी की जो बातें हैं बहुत ही ज़्यादा अमेजिंग है. क्या उन्होंने सारे आंसर दिए हैं. इजिप्ट की जहाँ तक बात रही है, आई थिंक इजिप्ट ने ऑलरेडी ऑफर एक्सेप्ट कर लिया है इंडिया के वीट को लेके, आई गेस. तो शायद अब इंडिया जो है वीट सप्लाई करने वाला है इजिप्ट को, या इजिप्ट था या कोई और कंट्री थी. आई एम प्रीटी श्योर इट वाज इजिप्ट ओनली. तो ये चीज़ हो चुकी है. इंडिया एक ग्लोबल वीट सप्लायर बनने वाला है वर्ल्ड में. दैट्स इनसेन. ये बहुत ही अच्छी खबर है. देखो, हम हिंदुस्तानियों में एक बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है कि हम दुनिया के किसी कोने में रहें. जब हमारा देश ग्रो करता है तो हम लोगों को अंदर से बहुत खुशी होती है. वी ऑल फील प्राउड टू बी एन इंडियन, चाहे वो कोई भी हो, चाहे वो हिंदू हो, मुस्लिम हो, क्रिश्चियन हो, बुद्धिस्ट हो, एथिस्ट हो, कुछ भी हो, चारवका हो, एनीवन. Beside what our belief system is, when India grows, we feel proud, we feel inspired to at least belong to that country. इसीलिए मुझे मोदी जी की चीज़ बहुत अच्छी लगती है कि वो मोदी जी even when he goes out to a different country, वो कभी भी वहाँ के NRIs को NRI से संबोधित नहीं करते. वो वहाँ के भारतीय होके उनको संबोधित करता है. ये चीज़ लोगों को सीखनी चाहिए कि even those people living outside of India, they are Indian actually at the end. They are by born Indian, you know. मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ कि मैं हमेशा भारतीय हूँ और भारतीय रहूँगा. ये मेरा अपने देश की तरफ लेके प्यार है. That's who I am. And that's the identity I will always carry and give it to my children as well. मुझे लास्ट में जो एक फीमेल थी जिनका नाम मुझे नहीं आता है, उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी बात बोली कि the West need India more than the India need the West. That was amazing. That was amazing. I mean, I love Jaishankar, yaar. I mean, क्या बोला जाए? That was whole fiery speech and fiery question was throwing at Jaishankar. मैं ऐसा कह रहा था कि यार सारे क्वेश्चन जयशंकर से ही पूछे जा रहे हैं लोग. कमाल है यार, किसी और से ही पूछ लो कोई. और बीच में दैट शशि थरूर, व्हाट द हेल इज रॉन्ग विथ हिम. और उसने कह दिया कि शशि थरूर कह रहा है कि इंडिया का स्टैंड क्लियर होना चाहिए यूक्रेन रशिया को लेकर. डूड, आर यू क्रेजी? इंडिया इतना सही कैलकुलेटिव वे में अपने स्टेप्स रख रहा है और आप कह रहे हो कि इंडिया को क्लियर रहना चाहिए. ये जो अपोजिशन वाले भी जो है ना, ये कभी कभी मतलब हर जगह हक देते हैं जाके. और जयशंकर ने क्या रो, मतलब आई मीन जैसे वो जयशंकर जब व्हेन ही स्माइल लाइक ए किड, उन्होंने कहा कि अरे शशि इज सिटिंग हियर. और उन्होंने बोला कि मैंने अभी पढ़ा भी नहीं है शशि ने क्या लिखा है, और शायद मैं पढ़ूंगा तो समझ भी नहीं पाऊंगा लिखा क्या है. That was a roast on his face. Damn, बहुत बढ़िया है यार. ये ऑपोजिशन को समझ में नहीं आता है कि जब देश हमारा ग्रो कर रहा है, why can't you come together to praise and take India even further? हम तो ये मान यार इंडिया हमारा ग्रो कर रहा है, पर एक चीज़ जो शायद सुधर जाए वो बहुत अच्छी हो जाएगी, वो इंटरनल पॉलिटिक्स साली खिचड़ी से भी ज़्यादा ख़राब है. मुझे लगता है ये शायद नहीं सुधरने वाला. जिस दिन ये सुधर जाएगा, जिस दिन अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी वाला टाइम आ जाएगा कि अपोजिशन पार्टी उनको भेज रही है इंडिया को रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए, जब वो आई थिंक internal politics has to be sought out. India needs to come first, whether it's Aam Aadmi Party, BJP, Congress. When it comes to India, we all have to stand for India, not against India. And it's a decision to represent India in a very global platform. बहुत अच्छा लगा मुझे सुन के, बहुत मज़ा आया. अगर आपको ऐसी वीडियो और देखनी है प्लीज़ मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में ज़रूर बताइए. इसका एक और पार्ट है 4-5 मिनट का, जो कि उन्होंने स्टैंडिंग इनागुरेशन के टाइम में बोला था, वो मैं अपने दूसरे चैनल पर डालूंगा. अगर आपको वो देखना है, hop up to my second channel and watch it there. Alright, I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care.